Welcome one and all, I'm Alexis, aka the Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to do a video about the highest rated books on my physically owned TBR. So first off, I do want to apologize for the sound of my dishwasher in the background, which I am sure the camera will pick up. And I also do want to apologize that I haven't been making videos for the past week. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you'll have already heard, but my grandmother was in the hospital. And for that reason, I was taking care of her, so I couldn't film videos. She's fine now, for any of you wondering. She's fine. She's out of the hospital, she's fine. So I'm here today to do some filming. I saw Adriana from Perpetual at Pages do this, and I will leave their video linked down below. You should all 100% absolutely be following Adriana because they are a gift to this community. I don't think I've ever seen a person so poetic and eloquent and poised as Adriana, and we are blessed to have them. That's all I'll say. So I did already previously look these up when I was at work today. So I basically just went through like 5 or 6 pages of Goodreads, just doing like highest rated and then going through and picking the ones that I physically owned. So I'll start with the one with the highest rating and work my way down. So yeah, let's get into it. The first one I'm going to mention has a 4.73 average rating. It's not a surprise to me in the least. Some of the ones on this list I think are surprises for me. This one is not one of those, and that is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Clearly this is the third and final book in the Illuminate Files series, and I plan to read this one in April. Like, it won't be on my TBR for very long. But this doesn't surprise me in the least that it has such a high rating, especially because like it just came out and this is a very well-loved series, and this is like the third and final book, so yeah, that totally does not surprise me. The next one is kind of a surprise for me, and it's got an average 4.58 rating, and that is Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. And I say that this surprised me not because obviously Sarah J. Maas is a huge author and she has a huge following for both of her series, but I just feel like when Empire of Storms came out, I heard so many people like give it mixed reviews. So that's why it's kind of a surprise to me, because I feel like people that I follow and people that I talk to either really hated it or really loved it. So I'm surprised it has such a high rating, like overall. So yeah, this is the second highest rated book on my TBR. The next one with a 4.55 rating is one that does not surprise me, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is another very, very, very popular fantasy series. I feel like most of the people I know have given this book either 4 or 5 stars, so it really does not surprise me it is on this list. This one is one that will be on my TBR, it looks like, for quite a while, because I refuse to read the series until the third book gets an official release date. So it's probably going to sit here for quite a bit, but this one doesn't surprise me. The next book, I will admit, does surprise me, and it has a 4.49 average rating, and that is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. And I say that because this is I think this is the highest rated one on my TBR by Leigh Bardugo, which does surprise me because I do have 6 of Crows on my TBR. But this one does have a really high rating, which doesn't surprise me that it has a high rating, because I don't think I've heard a single bad review about this book, because every person I know has mentioned how beautiful the illustrations are, has talked about how beautiful the writing is, and how much they loved like the addition to the Grisha-verse that this book is. So that part doesn't surprise me, but the fact that it's higher than 6 of Crows does. The next one has an average 4.48 rating. This one is another one that doesn't shock me, and that is In Order to Live, North Korean Girl's Journey to Freedom by Yeonmi Park. This does not surprise me because I feel like this is one of the most well-known stories out of North Korea. I feel like this is also a very, very popular nonfiction book. It's probably the nonfiction book highest on my TBR, so again, like, that doesn't surprise me. I was thinking about saving this one for Nonfiction November to participate this year, just because I do want to read this, because I feel like this is such an important story. The next one has a 4.47 average rating, and that is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third and final book in the original Mistborn trilogy. This doesn't surprise me that this is on this list, just because I feel like Brandon Sanderson was gonna, and I have to admit, actually, The Way of Kings is higher rated than Mistborn was, but I don't actually physically own The Way of Kings, so I didn't include this in the video, but that one actually has, I think, a higher rating than everything but Obsidio. when I looked at my Goodreads, but because I don't own it, I didn't include it. Instead, went for The Hero of Ages. The next one with a 4.47 average rating does surprise me just because it only recently came out, and I do know that people got arcs of it, but it just came out like 2 weeks ago, and it has a really, really positive rating, which makes me very excited to read it, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Again, like I know when the arcs of this came out, people were raving about it, so I'm not shocked it has a high rating, but like it's got a very, very good rating for a book that just came out 2 weeks ago. I'm probably going to put this one in my TBR over the summer because I do really want to get to it. But yeah, that's the next one on my list. This one has a 4.46 rating, and it doesn't surprise me that it's on this list, and that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Dark Artifices. This is the only Cassandra Clare book on my TBR, because this is the last Shadowhunter book I will give a shot to. If I don't like this, I'm done. I've said that before. But I do know that this book is very big, but that people love the series. I've heard from die-hard Cassandra Clare fans that they do think this is her best series, that it's going to end up being her best series, and I've heard just so much hype about Lady Midnight, so I'm not shocked it's on this list. I hope I like it. I will admit that. I hope I like it. The next one on my list both does and doesn't shock me. It shocks me that of all the books on my Goodreads to be read list, this one is like so high up because I feel like I have a lot of really popular books on that list. But it also doesn't surprise me because this book got a lot of critical acclaim last year, and that is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I also just noticed that a lot of the books on this list are very, very large books. I feel like most of these books on this list actually are over like 500 pages. But I know so many people, this was voted as the best like book of the month pick for last year. I know a lot of people put this book in their favorites lists, and I heard so many incredible things about this book. It's a hunker, but I'm very excited to pick this up, and hopefully I will really love it when I do. And the last book I'm going to mention is one that also has a 4.46 average rating, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Honestly, I'm really shocked this one doesn't have a higher rating. Like, I would have thought this one would have had a higher rating than A Language of Thorns, even probably a higher rating than Empire of Storm, so I have to admit I'm quite shocked this one has a 4.46 rating. I mean, which, don't get me wrong, is still a great rating for a book. Just here on BookTube, there's like 2 people who don't like this book, so I'm just shocked that it's that low. It's the lowest one on my list. This is also one that I don't plan to let sit on my TBR for too long, because again, everyone and their mother has read this book, and I have not, and I don't want to be missing out on that anymore. Alrighty guys, so those are the top rated books on my TBR. I would love to know if you go on Goodreads and do the same thing. You should go to My Books, and then you go to your To Be Read section, and then you can sort by average rating. And if you do that, I would love to know what's the highest rated book on your TBR. Leave that down in the comments below. If you like what I do, I upload videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!